just finished doing a stream live on Facebook. Usually when I do StreamYard, it does both, which I'm getting ready to do when I walk back to the house. It's beautiful out here, man. Hey, what is that? Look at this. The sky is crazy. It's crazy. It's got a nice little swirl to it. Let me show it to you. Let me see if I can turn this around. Look at the sky. See that twirl to it? Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Okay. It is what it is. Well, anyway, here I am streaming on YouTube. Finally, they let me stream on YouTube. Like I said, I got suspended because I started to, I guess, use some international videos, and then I put my Cash App on the video, something like that. I don't know. I wasn't expecting anything. I just did that. Hey, listen. I was bringing content, teaching about the Iberian Peninsula and the different music, the different music that has impacted us, you know what I'm saying? And how it's music, how it grew. And Iberian Peninsula has also impacted the islands, you know what I'm saying? And even the states, the mainland, you know what I'm saying? The music expressions and this African expression also. Just to say African because it's a subcontinent, coming from the Berbers. And I put out something about Italy also. You see a little, so I was just showing the commonality, the common music, tones, and the different style of dances and stuff like that, but I guess they didn't like that, so it's okay. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to try to put those pieces together and then do it on a platform that you have no control of. But then again, and let me tell you something, Monday summit, we had the 86 summit today, Mondays. Every Monday is a summit, and the Crown Ambassador, the Chancellor, and the Imperial Majesty, Kasambura, was speaking. Excellent. She dropped some jewels, man. Jewels. Genetic teaching, jewels from the kingdom, from the Federation. We are the Ma Confederation, right? Those 7 lineages of Ma Federation that extend themselves and went out to Sumer, even to India, and the hunter-gatherers that travel out. And so in today's day and time, the Ma Confederation is known as the African Kingdom Federation. That's what it is, the African Kingdom Federation. It's today, in today's terms, it's a Ma Federation of the past life, the past terms. So all civilization changes, you know what I'm saying? So there's a change happening. You heard about the global reset, currency reset. You heard about the conjunction, all of the planets resetting itself and everything. Well, civilization also reset itself. And these are initiatives that was brought out. And, in the United Nations, they knew it. So, of course, they've come out with their initiative programs, agendas also for that. You know what I'm saying? So, in today's day and time, you have the African Kingdom Federation doing its part to contribute and to make sure that we have the ability to sustain ourselves for future legacies and generations. You know what I'm saying? That continent known as Africa, it's a cradle. That continent has a lot to offer in terms of resources. We all know that. I mean, all these nations are in there. They go around, you know what I'm saying? They go in there and they take the resources. You have a lot of these houses of Orange, houses of Harrisburg, all these houses in there. They take these raw materials, you know what I'm saying? A lot of it is being traded, and a lot of it you get, I'm speaking to you now through the internet and through the cell phone, and a lot of these raw material comes from that continent we know as Africa today. The cobalt, you know what I'm saying? And the lithium. All this technology, is also changing. And so when you look at the origin of things, when you go back to the center of it, you know what I'm saying, you come to see that it gives you get to know the nature of something. you get back to the center and you centerize yourself. You know what I'm saying? So the center of all the land masses, you know what I'm saying, of how they move because of the plate tectonic of everything, the center is that particular continent. You just have to accept that. That's oceanography. That's geographic oceanography. Scientists knows this. Anthropologists knows this. Linguists know this. You know what I'm saying? The first form of writing come from Nile Valley. The first form of star observation comes from the Nile Valley. Kushites. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things. And it's not to be like, put in people's face and this and that. It's just to recognize. And so we are the descendants. The is that what is that? Progenitor? Is that the proper word to use? The descendants of that particular federation. That culture. That's us. That's who we are. So in today's day and time, there's work being done. There's a reset. Civilization is being reset. So we have to be at the forefront of it. You know what I'm saying? Again, we have to be at the forefront of it, making sure that we are being sustained and making sure that we have the ability to sustain our legacy for the future. No matter where we at, African diaspora, no matter the Caribbean islands has such a connection. Assalamu alaikum, Zayd. The Caribbean islands have such a connection with that continent, what we know. Okay? And if you just go back into historical datum, you go back into anthropology, you just follow it. You get to the center of things that cannot be changed. You know, I always tell people about the circle and the dot in the middle, that you find that in hieroglyphics, right? Well, if you find yourself in the outer bands, you can be manipulated. It's a circle. Even nature has a cycle about it. Those 4 seasons, it changes. But there is something in the middle. There's something in the middle that never changes. That is absolute. You see, and Zayd is here, and that's where you get Salatul Ikhlas. And we say, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Kul huwallahu ahad. Ahad is not wahad, one, or Wahad, which is not with a -1, right? If that's the proper term for it. But in the middle of that, in that graph, in the middle of that, Alex, peace, everybody. In the middle of that graph is the absolute point. You know what I'm saying? And that's getting back to the womb of natural nature, where things happen, the center of the galaxy. You know, I was reading an article that was saying that there is radio waves coming from the center of the galaxy. Is the womb speaking to us? Is it giving us the energy? Are we being uploaded? Our genetics, because our genetics have information in it, and our genetic work off for tones. When you look at those letters, right, AD, it's something like that, and you replace their actual tones, you know, and there is a study in that. They call that kinsology, I believe. Kinsology, cymatic, and kinsology have tones. So there's tones coming from the center of the galaxy that is uplifting. Peace and blessings to everybody here, Banyo. Peace and blessings to everyone. So we're being uploaded genetically. We are being uploaded. You know what I'm saying? And there's studies. Scientists don't know where that's coming from. You know, you got meteors hitting. I think there was one that hit Japan. There's so much activity happening. You know what I'm saying? But they tell you, don't look to the sky, like that movie said. Don't look to the sky. It was scared the shit out of you, right? But listen, there's so much happening up there. Look at right now. We got the crescent. Let me see. Let me put it up there. Listen. We got the crescent. See that? That's the moon crescent. So much happening. And let me tell you something. My son told me, yo, Dad, you got to watch Moon Knight. Like the night on Disney Plus. I watched, I was like, yo, and it's comedic science. I was like, hey, you know, and the mirror and the voices is hitting. Yo, it's out there. They can't hide it no more. You know what I'm saying? no one can hide that anymore. That we're being uploaded. Of course, they have what they call Hollywood, and they got these writers that take it and they give their narrative and whatever. But in reality, our genetics are being uploaded with certain information. You know what I'm saying? And I was telling Alex today that, you know, we read just to confirm already what we know inside, what's being uploaded in us. You know what I'm saying? And then we find books and we find knowledge and say, wow, this is, you're creating an affinity, a likeness, and then you have reality, and you're like, yo, this information, I was just thinking about it. And look, it just happened to, you know what I'm saying? It just brings, that's how the multiverse works. That's how nature works. You know what I'm saying? You think a thing, and trust me, you're going to get assistance from all over. It's happened. Yes, gamma ray and the guy. Yeah, Frank White, you deep. Exactly. Well, I mean, that's the study. You know, that's what's happening now. At a more, it's renewing, it's resetting, and we're being bombarded. K Solo. Yeah, man, we're being uploaded. You know what I'm saying? And a lot also, I gotta say this, that when I find that when I change my diet and I eat the right type of food in the gut, you know what I'm saying? There's this connection there. My upload are more intense, bro. I wake up and boom, these thoughts it's like I'm speaking to myself. You know what I'm saying? It just comes to me. Then I start writing it down, or I start looking up the information that I might find in the book. Thank you, Bondor. Thank you, Floyd. Yeah. And by the way, talking about the debate, you know, people are debating and this and having all these conversations. But I was on my Facebook, I was telling you that there's certain things happening now because of civilization being also, you know, people in the civilization, because you need people to be in the civilization or being uploaded, and there's certain initiative and agenda that's happening right now in civilization being reset. This civilization is being reset. You know what I'm saying? We have to make sure that we can sustain, we can contribute, and at the same time we can sustain our legacy, because we are the cradle of civilization. When I say we, I'm talking about those that connect genetically back to the landmass. We're the Ma Federation. So today, the African Kingdom Federation is known as the African Kingdom Federation. That's the Ma Confederation that existed in ancient time. There's a blood lineage that keeps running. There's blood that keep running, lineages in that continent. They keep that seriously amongst the Kushites. They keep that seriously amongst these kings and queens and these houses. They keep that blood lineage very seriously. You know what I'm saying? So right now, you know, the African Kingdom Federation, you know what I'm saying, is the Ma Confederation that was in the past, and today is known as the African Kingdom Federation. Those lineages that extend to the Arab world, extends even to Europe, extends up to the Mediterranean area, and extends all the way into India. You know what I'm saying? These lineages, and that's what's happening. We're coming together. We're contributing to humanity. We're making sure that in this reset of this civilization, that we have a say. Okay, we have a say. We have a sustainability for our legacy. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. Yeah. Even the Sumerian. That's right, Frank. Right. Even that Ma Federation even extends into Sumeria. They were known as the Magari. Magari, look it up. Magari was the hunter-gatherers that went into Sumer, and you know, and taught and set up their civilization there. Those houses, those lineages, those houses went into Sumer, went into what they call the Kush, Hindu Kush, Indus Valley Kush, or the Hindu Kush. That lineages went all the way into there. And then, of course, you have, you know, the Berbers with the North Africans, the Berbers. You know what I'm saying? Most of the North African, let me take my steps here. the North Africans also, you know what I'm saying, and all the way into the Emirate of Sicilia, into what they call Andalusia, and Andalusia into what they call Sicily. All that whole area, man, there's lineages that go way, way back. And houses, these are houses that sit in the United Nations. You know, bloodline. These are bloodlines that are being represented by people in the United Nations and form unions. You got the European Union, you got the African Union, all these unions. So they recognize these houses. We're in the house of Kasambura house, the house of Reye, the house of Ra, which goes all the way back into ancient Kemet, goes back into Nile Valley. You know what I'm saying? You can find all the lineage all the way back. That's where our house is at. You know what I'm saying? Ahlul Bayt. We're Ahlul Bayt. You know what I'm saying? The family of the house that goes back to Kushites. You know what I'm saying? So it's a reality. It's who we are. You know what I'm saying? And it's getting to the center of things again. Finding out the center where at the outer bands could be manipulated, even in nature. But what is the center of nature? It's the womb, the ma'ah, the water, the womb, the water of the womb, the womb. That's something that's unchangeable. And then even if you say, oh yeah, test tube babies and everything, and they're done a test tube, but natural nature, the galaxy, the center of the galaxy is a womb that births all the other planets in the galaxy. This is the center of it. That's the womb of the multiverse. You know what I'm saying? And then that's microcosm. And then in the microcosm, then you have the womb, the cradle. The womb is there at the Ma Federation. They're finding out more and more and more that it's in the Nile Valley. You know, coming out of Uganda, it's the Nile Valley. You know what I'm saying? Those hunter-gatherers came out of there. And where you find a lot of Khoi people, the oldest genetics here are Khoi people, San people, Twa people, even the Kwa people over there in Gambia and stuff like that. You know, they know that coming out of the Nile Valley in that area. Encompass all that, Niger, Congo, that whole area. You know, and the Sahara was green Sahara. You know, there was water aqueducts there. That's what they call Atlantis, the beginning outer band of Atlantis, and then it spread all the way what you know today as the Caribbean because of the plate tectonic shifts. But that's another conversation. That's oceanography. That's geographic oceanography. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, you know, it's investing your time in it. And going into finding the center, because there it's unshakable. You can't move the center. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't move the way the outer bands of the circle moves around. Yes, Frank, right? You got Pangea, you got Ganawa. Pangea is the oldest, and you got Ganawa, and then you got Ronidia is another one. Landmass. So there's a many progressions. There's a good book on that that speaks about all of the plate tectonic, and it's coming out of the University of New Mexico. They were miners, scientists that were doing mining and going to the crust of the earth. When they were mining and stuff like that, they had to study and study the size, the crust of the earth. And they went back and studied the crust. They studied the plate tectonic and stuff like that. And so there's a great book on that. As a matter of fact, it's on Scribd. You know, I have it on there. It's one of the books that I like to read. And also, I screenshot it, so I might do a presentation on that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. And now that Barn Dog is here, yeah. You know something? The debate was interesting. There was a debate between the ISUPK and the Black Panther, the new Black Panther Party, which is Malik Shabazz, was also representing the new Black Panther Party. But he was more representing, of connecting back to the continent of Africa and Africans and how we are Africans, whatever. So the question that I ask is this. You know that Africa has one of the richest resources in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, that's how we get the internet and the cobalt and lithium and so uranium. There's so much resources, and the people and the landmass and those rivers. I mean, there's so much resources in Africa. And even in biblical text, text, the Israelites spend their time in Egypt, which is known as Africa. And the Nile Valley, the Elephantine civilization that they formed out there, which were Israelites that formed that out there, right? The Sumerians, right? The Syrians. Because at the end of the day, that's what Israelites are. Syrians. That's what the biblical text says. They're people coming from Sumer. They're Asiatic people. And they always went into Africa for resources. So today we got to ask, if we disconnect ourselves with that landmass, we disconnecting ourselves from the resources of that landmass, where all these other nations, they're in there. All Chinese are in there. Africa. I mean, a lot of them even become chief of certain African tribes. Japanese are in there. Europeans are in there. Russians. So many different nations are in Africa because they know, right? So now here, the narrative is among the Israelites, black Israelites here. If you disconnect yourself from Africa, what landmass can you connect us with to guarantee the future and the legacy of our economics, our echo, our habitat, and our environment? What resources can we pull from? Because at the end of the day, that's very important. What's good of you having a doctrine, a dogma, and saying that you're Israelite and you don't have a landmass to connect yourself to? You're going to become enslaved. You're becoming conquered and enslaved all over again. What landmass? You can't go to Israel. As a matter of fact, Israel is in Africa. They're starting to go into Africa to get their resources. The world in total. So to me, that's a mute conversation. And you have to ask yourself, what are they doing? What about the Dogon tribe able to see? Oh yeah, they have, right. Because those are because in the Nile Valley, you have a lot of areas that were like the Nasta Plaza, and even if you go to Hindu in India, with amongst the Kushites in India, they had observatories. They used to set up observatory, and they used to chart the skies, the stars. That's how we get language. This is a big language. That's how we get the glyphs of our language. Those glyphs are actually charting the stars and forming those glyphs from the star charts, and they became our actual glyphs. You know what I'm saying? That's the beginning of the glyphs. And I'm not talking about the hieroglyphics, because the hieroglyphics is something different. You know what I'm saying? That's dealing with natural nature here on earth, and the way they preserve the sacred teaching within those different glyphs, because they had a lot of invaders coming in, and people, and they want to make sure they protect a lot of that knowledge, you know what I'm saying, and gave you rites of passage. But I'm talking about the glyphs like the Sabi glyph, the Vai glyphs, the Maande glyphs, and all those glyphs were star charts, were formed by connecting the stars, connected the dots, you know what I'm saying, and it became our glyphs. You know, so they say observe. The Dogons were part of that in the Federation. They were part of the one that were entrusted to that taught, that charted. And their glyphs are protected in those caves, and they have glyphs that are protected in those caves, and those glyphs also has been transformed into the glyphs, Maande glyphs. You know what I'm saying? So it's all connected. You know what I'm saying? There's very good books on that. I got a great book on that where it talks about the Dogons and the connection between the Dogons cosmology and the hieroglyphics. Very great book. It's on Scribd. Scribd got a lot of great books that I read. Yeah, I pay like, I think $10 a month, and I got a collection of books on there. And then I got some of my PDF file and stuff like that. I had a lot of books personally, books, but I lost a lot. You know what I'm saying? I lost a lot. I could have had an extensive library, but I lost a lot of it. But it's okay. I mean, because again, at the end of the day, you could stock up so many books and it becomes so heavy. You could stock up so many books unless you're gonna, unless you are going to form some type of library. You know what I'm saying? Build yourself a library and stuff. What's up? Okay. If you're gonna form yourself a library, contribute. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, in the future, you know, donate to a library like they do, and they put a plaque with your name. You know, Masons do that a lot. You know what I'm saying? A sensitive library. There are some individuals that have a sensitive library and they become part of a bigger library, and their name is on the plaque and the library of this, you know, that. You know, it's cool. You want to leave that legacy behind. People that do that, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, the center of it all, when you look at the center of it all, is a womb. Okay? It's the womb of the galaxy, it's the womb. That's unshakable. That you can't move. It's just unshakable. If you don't teach what you learn, it becomes useless. Right. If you don't practice what you learn. That's the reason why, you see, I like to involve myself with the African Kingdom Federation, because what I learn, I transform it into that. I put into a practicality, something that I know is going to help learning how to set up parliaments, government, how to deal with government, world parliaments. We're learning how protocols. You know, as an ambassador, you have to have protocol. I'm a TFO. I'm a task force officer in training to become crowned ambassador to the African kingdom. So it's important, because then that's the work that you got to do. You know what I'm saying? So that what you know becomes practicality. Practical. You're building something now. You're building. That's the reason why I got to give a shout out to Panabayan and build it. You know what I'm saying? We're able to take all that book, all that knowledge, create an economy, right? Create wealth with that knowledge. You can do that. Then you write books, you create a wealth, and then you pull your wealth. And to me, I'm like this. The more wealth I have, the more people around me have. I don't want it for me. I pull everything to around my environment. You know what I'm saying?